Hi, so I'm Charlotte Fraza, a third-year PhD student in Computational Neuroscience. And for the coming few weeks, I kind of want to make a series on practical skills that I think you should develop as a student. So one of these skills is really time management. So as soon as I started my PhD, I really realized that I had to get a lot better at managing my time. And that's just because I have so many more responsibilities. I try to finish my PhD, but I also try to upload a video to YouTube every week. And in the evenings, of course, I also would like to see some friends or have some free time or write a little bit more creatively for my blog. And I think by getting really good at time management, you can get so much more out of your studies and also so much more out of your free time. So today I want to give you the top 5 lessons that I've learned since my bachelor studies up until my PhD in time management, and hopefully they will help you as well. So let's get right into it. And the first thing I really want to talk about in this video is The One Thing. So The One Thing is a non-fiction book written by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. The book focuses on the concept of less is more and argues that success can be achieved by focusing on a single important task rather than trying to do multiple things at once. So in general, I try to every day in the morning set at least one thing that I want to accomplish that day. And this kind of allows me to celebrate these small wins, because I think as a student, you have so many things that you try to balance every day. So for example, you want to exercise or you want to create something on the internet, but you also want to focus on your studies and doing well for exams. And all of these can kind of become really overwhelming. And at the end of the day, what I noticed a lot of times is that I sometimes felt as if I didn't accomplish anything. And the idea of The One Thing is really that by trying to focus all your attention on this one thing that day that you can accomplish, that at the end of the day, you will always feel satisfied that you have accomplished something. And something that helps me with this is this Chrome add-on called Momentum. So Momentum every day gives you like a quote and also asks you, what do you want to achieve this day? And just such a simple reminder for me really allows me to focus on this one thing. So the second advice I have is to use a calendar. And this may seem so simple, but the amount of people that I know that don't properly use a calendar is really staggering. So I just use the Google Calendar and I really put everything in there. So any type of reminder, everything I have to do, any type of meeting or presentation I have to perform. And usually I also put, for example, if I have an exam at the end of the month, I put 2 weeks beforehand to start studying for this exam. And I think by having everything in one place, you can always just check this one place in the morning and make a list of all the things that you have to achieve or accomplish to kind of keep on top of your tasks. Because as a student, you just have so many things that you have to balance that it can become overwhelming really quick. And also something that I really try to do is I always try to block my Saturdays, for example, free, such that I almost have nothing planned on Saturdays except for friends and seeing a movie and relaxing time. And I also put these time blocks in for time periods that I really want to focus on one task or really want to do some deep work or study for longer hours. And this way also it allows you to protect the time that you have and become really aware of what you're spending your time on or what you're not spending your time on. So the third tip I have is eliminate and delegate. So after you have this calendar and you have the concept of the one thing, you may still have a lot of tasks in your calendar that are just at the same time or just don't work together. And one thing that I've really noticed is that I really had to say no to things that are not that important and also really try to eliminate as much as possible from my calendar. So for example, there are a lot of lectures that I could attend at our neuroscience center. And even though I find a lot of them extremely interesting and I wish I could go to all of them, I just don't really have the time. So at the beginning of the week, I really try to make a list of which ones seem or the most interesting or if I really like the speaker. And if none of these things are present, I just usually don't go to these lectures. And I think if you go over your calendar, you can really see what kind of things you're spending time on that you wish you didn't spend time on. And also the second thing of delegate, maybe if you think of delegate, you think of having some kind of assistant, which of course you cannot afford if you're a student. But also a way you can delegate is by thinking of AI, for example. So of course, all of you have seen ChatGPT and all these other AI things popping up. And I think there is really gold in using these products in the proper manner. So for example, one thing that ChatGPT can do is write already an outline, for example, for a paper that you have to write. Or if you have to write a motivation letter, it can give you some kind of structure. And I wouldn't recommend to have ChatGPT write your entire motivation letter, but by having, for example, a structure already present, you can kind of delegate the task of making the most basic structure for you to ChatGPT. And in general, there are a lot of AI products that can really help with your studies. And I found this amazing website that gives a list of all the different AI products currently out there. So I'll also put it in the description box for you to check it out and see if any of these AI products can help you with your studies. So before we continue with today's video, first a little word of our sponsor, Aura. So when I think of time management, one of the main things I think about is focusing. So if you have a really good ability to focus, you will become better at managing your time as well, just because in the time that you have, you are just so much more focused. And one of the ways I like to train focus is by doing meditation practice and these kind of daily practices where people really teach you how to focus, for example. And one app that has been really helping me with this is Aura. Aura is a new mindfulness and sleep app that won the Best of Apple Award and is used by over 7 million people. It's an all-in-one app for your well-being and sleep and has thousands of meditation stories and so much more like CBT, life coaching and breathwork. Aura's content is created by hundreds of expert coaches and therapists around the world. So I've been using Aura for several days now to improve my focus, and they also have this 17-day challenge for improving focus that I've really been enjoying so far. So get started for completely free on Aura's website using my special link in the description box. The first 500 people get a free trial, exclusive 25% off. Yeah, so I hope you check Aura out, but let's get straight back to the video. So the fourth thing that I really try to focus on is this concept of deep rest. So you've probably heard of the concept deep work by Cal Newport, and that's really the idea that if you're focused and in the zone, you can get a lot more work done and a lot more difficult work done. But I think kind of a counterbalance to the work of Cal Newport is the idea of deep rest. And a lot of us know the concept of shallow rest, I think. So that's usually when you come home after a long day of work and you just watch a lot of TikTok videos to distract you from the daily stressors of life. But I think if you reflect back on a week of doing this, you kind of feel that you're still quite stressed and quite tense. And I think the idea of deep rest is to really remove actually all distractions and really focus on things that gave you joy or pleasure as a kid, for example. And one way that I really like to do this is by focusing on physical fitness, body, and kind of the mind. And at the moment, I'm doing this through Ashtanga yoga. So Ashtanga yoga is this practice where you go every morning from like 6 to 7 or 6 to 8, and you do the full primary series. So the regular practice of Ashtanga yoga can improve focus, reduce stress and anxiety, and also increase mental clarity. So it's kind of like this moving meditation. For me, it is really like a kind of a gift that I give to myself every morning by doing this and practicing this type of meditation and this type of yoga. I really noticed that I have so much more clarity and I'm also just a lot more relaxed throughout the day. And this is not to say that you should do yoga or that you should do any type of mindfulness training, but I do think the idea of deep rest, if you had an entire day free, what would you be doing? Would you go into nature? Would you take a dance class? Would you meet up with some friends? And to really be present in that moment of relaxation without distractions, I think is something really beautiful and something to cultivate also in your life. And the last tip that I have, and that's tip 5, that's to reflect and review. So I think throughout the day, we kind of get really focused in optimizing certain parts of our day, but sometimes it's good to take a step back and reflect and review really what we're trying to achieve and why we're really trying to optimize our time. So especially if you're a student, you're probably working towards some goal. So for example, if you're in medical school, your final goal is to become a doctor. And maybe when you're in the trenches of studying, you're not really focusing on this main goal. But I do think it's good every day or every week to have a little moment where you reflect and review on how to get to this goal and why you want to get to this goal. So I try to every morning read a little bit of the Daily Stoic. So the Daily Stoic is this book with 366 meditations on wisdom, perseverance, and the art of living. And it's a book that provides daily meditations on Stoicism, a philosophy that emphasizes the development of self-control, rational thinking, and resilience in the face of adversity. And for me, I just in general really like the Stoic philosophy for daily living and for self-development. But it also really helps me after I've read a little bit of this book to just journal down my thoughts for that day and kind of what I want to accomplish that day. And this journaling practice doesn't have to take hours. I usually just do 5 minutes when I'm really busy. But I do think having this down on paper and some of the worries that I have and some of the goals that I want to achieve really gives me clarity at the end of the week where I'm going and exactly where I want to be. So these were my tips for personal time management, and I would love to know if you have some kind of tips for me on how to increase my productivity, because I'm always working on it and I'm always thinking about it. So please leave it on the comments down below, and otherwise see you next week. Bye!